and Damon, and then the safeties Corey and Connor that played a lot for the first time. You know, if they've got to do that again this week against those receivers and against a quarterback that can kind of bide time and make you cover a little longer, how big of a challenge is that going to be for those guys?
I think anytime you place a quarterback that can buy time to, you know, let guys get open, it's a challenge for you. I think that it's important that we all understand the game plan and what we got to get done, understand leverages and fits and where you need to be, and then play with energy and, you know, have fun and go play.
Devin was the guy that, for me, that it seemed like I kind of got thrown into the fire from a standpoint of most affected by Malcolm being a late scratch last week.
Yeah.
Okay. How did he do? I mean,
I thought he did a solid job. I mean, that was his first start, and you know, he was redshirted this time last year, and you know, from a rep standpoint, he went in the game getting more backup type reps. So you're not going to get as many reps. That's why it's critical that when you're not in there, that you're paying attention mentally and you understand what's happening in meetings, because you're one play away from being in the game, and that's, you know, kind of a lesson that we, you know, use for our players. But I thought he competed and did some things well. Obviously, we'll look for him to, you know, be more consistent with his second game and continue to work and develop him. And I still think that he can help us in the future.
Malcolm was running around out there today. Was that encouraging? Do you feel like he's going to be able to help you this week?
You know, he worked and took some reps, and we'll see how it goes.
In watching film, in terms of the quarterback runs that the Buffalo guy was able to get off,
passes?
There were passes that turned into runs. How was that the, you know, main, or what from the film did you think was the main problem there, and how does it?
Well, I mean, anytime you have split safety coverage and you're rushing four guys, there's 6 gaps for 4 guys, so it's critical that you collapse those pockets. You collapse the pocket outside in, and you constrict that area. But if you create a seam in there, then you know, a guy can get out and make some yards, because you've got vertical separation between the rush going this way and the receivers moving down the field. You create vertical separation, and when that happens, you know, guys can run because there's nobody there at times. So we've addressed it with the players of what they need to do. I thought they were better at it today, and we'll continue to work to make sure it doesn't happen.
Is that some of those guys need to be staying at home and not pursuing it, basically?
Not really. I mean, it's just one of those things that you got to understand leverage on the quarterback. You got to understand, you know, distribution in your rush lanes and those kind of things. But I mean, you know, it's going to happen. I mean, I saw it happen Saturday night in the game I was watching. I mean, it's going to happen. I mean, so you just got to understand why it's happening and what you got to do to make sure it doesn't happen, you know, too often.
Is there anybody you faced in the last couple of years as far as this quarterback and this offense, or is this an entirely new beast?
No, they're entirely new. They obviously, they have a formula for how they want to win the game and what they want to do. They, you know, are very productive with their system, and they're going to run it and throw it. And you got to understand, you know, what's happening to you and be ready to play.
How much is the height of their receivers versus who you have it in the secondary? How much is that keeping you up at night?
Well, I mean, you know, I think that what you got to understand is the position that you're in, the leverage, where your help is, and those kind of things, and you know, understand what's happening to you before, you know, the ball gets snapped, and be ready to play. So, I mean, I think our guys will compete, and they look forward to the challenge.
Well, if they line up 4 receivers, which they're going to do a lot, and you know, without Malcolm, let's say, you know, do you slide in Sheldon Dawson or wherever your 4th cornerback is, or you
can.
You're getting your safeties in?
We can do that. We can do that and match them up. So we'll just have to continue to work and try to create the best matchups we can, you know, based upon what they got.
How much of a risk reward is it for them with one guy in the backfield or nobody in the backfield, and your ability to affect the quarterback?
You know, they like to get rid of the ball pretty quick. So I mean, I think anytime you're a one-back team or an empty team, you're fine. I mean, you know, it's all based upon the release of the quarterback, and this guy does a good job of getting rid of the ball. He's a bigger guy, so he can, you know, he can affect the rush himself a little bit, make guys miss, move around a little bit. So, you know, all of that stuff plays into playing like that's favor. So I think that what they do is really good, and they obviously have had a lot of success with it. They score a lot of points, so we got a challenge ahead of us.
People think spread and they automatically think throw the ball all over the place. They were 9th in the country in rushing last year. Is that designed run, or is that Franklin pulling it down
No,
and running away?
that's designed runs. I mean, if you look, they're probably going to run the ball 40 times a game, you know. And I think, matter of fact, 9 of the 12 games they played, they ran the ball 40 or more times, or right at 40 times. So they're going to try to run the ball as well as throw it. And obviously, with the tempo, they can get more plays, so they can do a little bit of both. But they want to be physical and run the ball. So that's a little bit of a misconception that because you're a spread team, you're not going to run the ball. But they're going to run the ball and be physical and attack you.
Do you have a good sense on the back end of what you have, or is there a lot of uncertainty given these guys haven't really been in this situation?
No, I think we got an idea. I mean, they're a good offense, so they're going to continue to do the things that allow them to be successful, and we just got to understand what's happening and play.
A linebacker like Ogletree and a free safety like Rambo would really help you in defense. It's their first on the depth chart.
Yeah, they are.
You going to have them from Missouri?
They're first on the depth chart. That's good enough. I like that.
Will you have them available to help you defend?
I don't know yet. That's Coach Rick.
What's your viewpoint on, because there's some debate as to what kind of competitive advantage it is to keep their status.
Here's what I think. I don't know why you tell anybody, because it's not a league rule. And unless everybody is going to disclose all their information, why would you talk about your team in that regard? Because, to me, you don't talk about things like that unless, like when I come from the NFL, it was a league rule. So everybody talked about it, everybody did the same thing, so I'm cool with that. But if everybody's not going to talk about it and everybody's not going to play on the same page, then I don't think the same thing. That's my opinion.
Do injuries fall in that category?
Injuries or anything.
You would be
until it's a league rule, and you have to say something. I think until everybody plays on the same page, you do as least as you can.
So if you're going to be at a competitive disadvantage by having a rule, a drug policy like this, why put yourself in more of an?
Well, I didn't say that. I'm saying that if you're asking me is a guy available or not, all I'm saying is that if you look at the National Football League, you actually have to say how many periods a guy practiced in a given situation. So until they have that in the SEC or in the NCAA, to me, why say anything? Because everybody's not playing by the same deck from that standpoint. That's all I'm saying from the information.
Not on Dawson.
Josh or
obviously Sheldon Dawson. Were you wanting to try to get him in on Saturday?
Yeah, I mean, we were actually getting ready to, and we kind of ran out of time. And we were actually hoping we got another series to get him in the game. And he's done well, so, we'll just have to keep working with him and keep him competing because he's done really well.
You mentioned before that he played a lot of offense in high school and maybe not so much corner. I mean, how far along is he given that it might still be a little new to him?
No, I think he's fine. I think that it's no different than it is for any freshman. I think it's just a matter of him learning our system, what to do, how to do it, and those kind of things. I don't think it has anything to do with he played so much offense. He has a good feel for alignment leverages. He's a tough kid that'll come up and tackle guys. He's really improved in that area. He's got some ball skills, and when he gets his hands on balls, he can make things happen as far as catching it. So I've been real pleased with his progress. We just got to continue to work him and developing it.
Were you okay with it? Were you okay with the defensive line's performance? I mean, how did you feel?
I thought those guys did a solid job. I mean, like all positions, we got things we got to work on, but I think they played with energy. They played stout at the point of attack, and we'll continue to work and make sure that we all improve as we move forward.
On paper, you would think that your defensive line versus their offensive line would be advantage. Georgia, they had some injuries up there and stuff. Is that an area where you definitely need to assert yourself and kind of have that edge?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I think that's a place that we feel like we have some good players, and we've got to make sure we take advantage of that from our perspective because we feel very comfortable and confident in what those guys can do for us. So, we got to make sure we play with energy and play stout up there, and let that be an area that we can, do well in.
What's going to be the biggest challenge for the inside backers this weekend against Missouri and what they're doing?
Oh, I just think you look at this, just look at the overall, the speed in which you got to, the range in which you got to play with. They can run it and they can throw it. They got really good runners that you got to make sure you're tracking and you can tackle. And I just think that it's a combination of just being disciplined, making sure you understand your fits, know where you need to be, and understand your leverage of where somebody else is, because some of these guys are really athletic, and you got to make sure that you're vicing the ball and you use your help.